Hi, my name is Kimberly Atias, and I'm a doctoral candidate at Aspen University. This week, as part of the course Creating Strategic Change That Lasts, we are examining social power. So, what is social power? Essentially, it is how much influence one person has on an organization, their peers, or society. It's also defined as the power that a person brings to make change based on skills, expertise, social capital, role definition, or stature. Social power is a societal construct and observable across all types of relationships: familial, organizational, business, personal, or even political. There are 5 types of social powers as defined by John French and Bertram Raven in 1959. Those 5 types of social power are legitimate, expert, referent, coercive, and reward social power. While leaders generally have a specific source of power, they often draw from multiple sources of powers and power strategies that are aligned to different bases according to the situation in which they need to address. At times, a leader may need to use both their expert power and their legitimate power. So let's take a look at each of the 5 sources individually. The first source of power is legitimate power. Most organizations have a hierarchy that is headed by a leader. The leader is either voted for, hired, or appointed to lead the organization forward, and they're chosen for their expertise, their ideas, and their skills. They are considered legitimate because of the way that they assumed power and the nature of the position and the title. The second type of power is referent power. Referent power is very different from legitimate power. Referent power is derived from personal attributes such as charisma, charm, humility, energy, loyalty, reputation, or talent. The leader with referent power gains the respect and the loyalty of followers because they are who others aspire to be or who they want to be with. A third type of power is expert power. Expert power is unique in that it is a power that is not limited to leadership. Expert power is defined as how much one is the go-to person. Expert power is demonstrated when a person with significant experience, expertise, skills, or knowledge, and they use it to influence and guide others within the organization. The next type of power is coercive power. Coercive power is the power to influence others through acts of coercion or punishment. That includes fear, threats, bullying, and other actions that cause a person to yield to the authority of the leader. The final type of social power is reward social power. Similar to and directly opposite of coercive power, reward power seeks to influence others through the use of tangible and intangible rewards. Promotions, bonuses, recognition, challenges, work-life balance opportunities are all examples of motivators that help leaders guide otherwise unmotivated followers. It's important to understand that social power has its challenges. These powers do not exist in a vacuum, and they do not work for every leader on every subordinate in every situation. Strong leaders must use a combination of social power strategies to influence their followers. For example, a person who is a legitimate social power leader may also need to use expert power because their deep understanding of the technicalities of running the organization. They may also need to leverage some of the referent power because they embody the person that others either strive to be or want to be connected to. It's equally as important to understand that social power does not equal leadership. Leadership can lead to power, and power can lead to leadership. In fact, studies suggest that when leaders employ a combination of expert, referent, and reward power, it resulted in higher levels of positive organizational citizenship behavior, and that leaders were perceived as more ethical. As leaders used more harsh tactics, such as coercion, they were perceived to be as less ethical, and it led to lower levels of positive organizational citizenship behaviors. It's important to remember that motivation and perception are equally important to the leadership dynamics. If I needed to describe the social power of the organizational leader at my school, I would have to preface it with that school is currently in leadership transition. The previous leader was a young, dynamic man with a great demeanor, a quiet disposition, and a calm manner. He was passionate about the art of teaching, knowledgeable about curriculum and instruction, and humble yet confident. He served as a role model for the young people and the teachers alike. He used rewards and reserved punishment unless absolutely necessary. He had great integrity, and while he was the legitimate leader of the school, his demeanor garnered referent power, and he had incredible influence over many stakeholders, including the leaders of the educational management company. Most important, his power led to productive leadership. He used his power to generate engagement of the teachers to do the work of teaching. He lived the values of the school, and he used formal and informal power to influence decisions that benefited our students. Moving forward, we have a new leader who was actually developed by the former leader. While their philosophies are similar, their characteristics and his social power is certainly different. He's also a legitimate power leader, but in conversation, it's easy to see that he still lacks some of the confidence about his legitimacy. He seems to rely more on rewards and coercive power to drive the organization, but he certainly is an expert at operations of the school. What he is missing, and it may have been an intangible power unique to the previous leader, is that referent power. This is his first year, and it's going to prove to be challenging, but it'll be interesting to see what becomes his dominant leadership style and what social power he uses to move that organization forward. So what about those alphas? When one hears the term alpha, it's often connoted with the term aggressive, domineering, bullies, but this is far from the truth. Interestingly enough, on a canine training site, they describe the alpha as fair. An alpha leader deserves their position. An alpha leader does not use fear, punishment, or brute force to achieve or maintain their position. An alpha leader instead makes it crystal clear what behavior they approve of and which they do not. An alpha leader expects their subordinates to follow their lead. They do not force them to. According to Di Casulo, the alpha dog is the person who is laser focused on leading the followers on a successful mission of meeting or exceeding organizational goals. The alpha sees the goal, sets the expectation, and then uses his or her power to drive the organization forward. The alpha influences followers to accept the challenge with him or her, corrects errors, develops new leaders, collaborates, listens, and commands respect. Thank you for listening to my presentation on social power. I hope you found it interesting and informative. And here is a list of references that you're able to go back and look at for further information. Thank you.